Hi students, good afternoon. So yesterday we had done something about presentation skills and listening skills. I hope you reviewed it and you got good inputs from it. Today we are going to start with, let's start today with something about interviews. So because in the coming time you're going to face interviews, right? So let us, groom ourselves about, interviews. So before going to the interview tips and techniques, I would like to tell you something about the types of interviews and about, the different types of interviews, and then we are going to further proceed about it. So first of all, do you know what is an interview? Yes, interview is a formal communication between a group of people, or where at least there are two sides, two people who talk with each other. One is the interviewer and one is the interviewee. So there are at least two parties need to be present for an interview to be conducted. So the person who is taking the interview is called the interviewer, and the person who is giving the interview is called as the interviewee. So these are two opposite parties who have to be present face to face, or to interact with each other and to understand question, and interview happens through question and answers. So why does the interview actually happen? An interview happens with the purpose of getting information from the interviewee, any kind of information which the interviewer wants. So who are the two people involved in interview? The two people, they are two parties which can consist of many, the interviewer can be a group of interviewers also. The interviewee will be one, definitely. So the interviewer is the person who is taking the interview. So he could be a single person, or there can be a panel of interviewers, right? And the person who is giving the interview is the person who is giving the interview is the interviewee. Means the persons who are asking the questions are the interviewers, and the person who reveals his information or who gives his information is the interviewee. Understood? So interview is held with the purpose of getting the information, fine, from the interviewee. So two parties are interviewers and the interviewees. Very good. So what is an interview? Basically, an interview is a conversation between two people, that is interviewer and the interviewee, where questions are asked by the interviewer to obtain information from the interviewee. As I told you, interviewer is the person who takes the interview and he asks question to obtain information from the interviewee. So the conversation is between the interviewer and the interviewee, where questions are asked by the interviewer to obtain information from the interviewee. So if I am taking your interview, I am the interviewer and you are the interviewee. Very good. And if I am alone, I am a single interviewer, or I can be a group of people taking your interview, then I am a panel of interviewers. Right? So what is the purpose of the interview? The purpose of the interview is to collect the information from the interviewee. So who asks the questions? The interviewer asks the questions, and the interviewee answers the questions or reveals his information. Now, it is not always a job interview. Whenever we hear of the word interview, we think it is for job selection. No, interviews can be of different types depending upon different situations in the organization. The word interview can stand for different things. For example, a TV reporter is, asking, excuse me, is asking questions to a celebrity on television. It is also a type of interview. So it is a journalistic type of an interview where a journalist is asking questions from a celebrity to get his information. So it is not that interview is only for selection purpose or job purpose. Interview can be of different categories depending upon the situations. As I told you, an example is a reporter interviewing a celebrity on television. This is a journalistic type of an interview. It can be one to one, but usually when it comes to television, there are many reporters from different channels, right? Then there are job interviews which we all are aware of, and in the near future, you all are going to face them. I have faced them. Every one of us who are going for a job or a career will face them. So a job interview is done for the purpose of selection. Here you will have a panel of interviewers or a single interviewer who would be the highly experienced person in that field in which the selection has to be done. And he will ask relevant questions related to the field and related to the other, interpersonal skills. He will ask questions to the interviewee. And he will try to get the information which he requires and which is necessary for him to be selected for that job. So through this interview, he will try to find out that information, that is the candidate having that knowledge, is he having those insights, is he having that behavior which is actually he looking forward to. That is a job interview. So what is a job interview? A job interview is an interview which is done for the purpose of selection. A job interview is an interview which is done for the purpose of selection, and a job interview is, a face-to-face interview where the interviewer and the interview have to be present face-to-face to understand each other. The interviewer should know about you, about your behavior, about your knowledge, etc., etc. Now, what happens during an interview? During an interview, you can expect to be asked questions for what? First of all, how you are called for an interview? You are called for an interview through, either, directly you walk in, or it can be a solicited interview where you have applied for the job by sending your CV. What is a CV? CV is a resume which shows your professional, educational background, family background, and the total achievements, awards, and experiences you had in your life. So, in an interview, you need to present all these things to the interviewer. What all you will present? You will, first of all, submit your CV to him. According to the CV, he will ask you questions based on your CV. What is CV? Your resume. Your professional biodata is your CV. So based on the CV, he will ask you questions related to your educational background. He will ask questions from your previous work experiences. Then questions relating to the personal characteristics, personal behavior. Questions related to your goals and what you want to achieve in life, what you want to become in your life. Then questions related to your personal behavior. Then questions related to if and but situation, what if this happens to you, decision making, to analyze your decision making power in particular circumstances. It depends on what interview style your interviewer prefers. These are some of the common interview styles according to the topics. Actual. The question of the interviewer is for the information and the reaction. Biography. The question aims to get information about the experiences. So, an interviewer can ask you questions based on different things. He will ask you the direct information which he requires and which is based on your knowledge, right? Secondly, there are biographer type of interviews who will try to find out about your experiences, who will be more worried about, who would be, more interested about your experiences rather than your knowledge. Right. So this is, according to the topic. So, what all you can be asked questions on? Educational background, professional background, achievements, awards, what you want to become in life, about your about your decision making powers, about your personal behavior, your communication skills, your interpersonal skills. So questions can be related to all these things. Questions can be related about your knowledge about the company where you have applied for the job. Suppose you are applying here at IBM for the job. So we will interview you to ask questions how much you know about us, what you know about us. Understood, students? So you can be asked questions from your educational background. You can be asked questions from your professional background. You can be asked questions from your professional experience. You can be asked questions from your behavioral background, behavioral pattern, on your interpersonal skills, on your achievements, on your awards, on your future goal or aim in life. Understood? So these are the important things which you need to groom yourself from now. Prepare your CV. First step for the job interview which you need to do is prepare your CV. You prepare your CV in a very professional way, which should not be very lengthy. A CV should be mostly of 1 page and maximum of 2 pages, not more than that. In the CV, write in short and wittily about your educational background, about your professional background. If you had done any profession, any professional course, fine, professional qualifications, and any other professional experiences. Means if you have worked with any organization, mention the duration, mention the duration, mention the name of the job, the name of the company, and the designation you had worked in. Understood? Your roles and responsibilities there. Mention all those things in your CV. Then mention any particular achievement or award which you have, you have got in your previous years. Then mention about your, aim in life. What do you want to become? Something like that. So you should mention in your CV briefly a nutshell about your personality, right? After taking that CV in hand, he will read your CV and he will understand, and based on your CV, he will ask you many questions. Okay, this paper you have written, suppose you said you presented paper on this subject. So he may ask you, okay, what was there in that paper? He may ask you, if you have written a paper on this subject, okay, you have stood first in the essay competition on this. So he will ask you which essay competition was it, what was the topic, what did you write, some brief points can you tell us. If you write in your hobby that music is my hobby, he may ask you a famous, your favorite, singer. Then he may ask you some songs of him. He may ask you to sing something. So whatever you have written in your CV, mostly he tries to question you on that. Whatever information you have revealed on your CV, he will try to question you based on the information on your CV. So my dear students, it is very, very important that you don't write anything false in your CV, because if you write false, you will be caught. He will catch you if you write something wrong there, something which is not true. Because when he will ask you a question on that and the information is not true, you will not be knowing the answer. For example, if you have written my hobby is singing, and then he asks you about some famous songs or singers and you are not having the knowledge, then how can your hobby be that? Or if you don't know to sing, how can your hobby be that? So he can catch you there. And my dear students, it is better to not write anything rather than writing wrong. Because if you speak something false and you are caught, it creates a totally negative impression. The employer will think this person is lying before he's entering the organization. What he will do after he enters the organization? Are you getting my point? So never write, false about it, because the interviewers who have come to interview you are people who have had a lot of experience in their life and who can catch you anywhere, who will understand if something is written wrong, who will judge if something is written wrong. So don't write anything wrong in your CV. Write everything on your CV. Each and every word which you are writing on your CV should be known to you, should be true, should be based on some kind of fact or it should be authentic. If you write anything false, you will be caught, and when you will be caught, you will never be selected, because If you don't write anything, there is nothing wrong about it, because you have not done it. How will you write? But if you write wrong, then it creates a negative or false impression in front of the employer. So my dear students, it becomes very important, first of all, to write a true knowledge on your CV and prepare yourself for personal questions which can be asked on your CV. Which can be based on your CV. For this, you have a lot of websites nowadays, interview, question, answer skills. This website is there. Then there are, so many books available in the market which makes you prepare. There is a list of hundreds and thousands of questions which make you prepare about the types of questions which are expected. Understood? So, if you are doing a thorough preparation for the interview, apart from your subject knowledge, which is of course the foremost, apart from that, you have to prepare for two more things. One is your interpersonal skills. That is your communication, your behavior, and your dressing and grooming. Fine. And the third thing which you have to prepare is about the general techniques of answering the questions or what the interviewer is expecting from you. This you can develop by reading these books and websites which are there, as I told you, which are based on the general general questions which are asked in an interview by the interviewer. And these general questions are mostly based on the knowledge of on the information written on your CV. So they ask you questions from your CV itself. Prepare yourself for your CV. Whatever you have written on the CV. If I have written good, why good? What good? How good? So you try each and every word, try to analyze that you know it properly and it is based on some kind of authenticity. Understood? Then you will never be caught and it will create a positive impression. Secondly, prepare yourself for interpersonal skills and of course for your knowledge. Knowledge is the foremost important thing. What job you are applying for, that knowledge for that profile is very, very important. So subject knowledge, groom yourself in your subject knowledge, groom yourself based on questions based on your CV, groom yourself on interpersonal skills, and if you are groomed in all these three aspects, you will definitely clear the interview. Am I right? So these are the general questions which are asked, one based on your subject knowledge, one based on your interpersonal skills, and the other one based on the information which you have written on the CV. And the fourth one based on your knowledge of that company where you are applying for. If you are applying for in XYZ company for ABC position, you should know what is this XYZ company, what is the origin of this company, what are the future plans of this company, what is the business of this company, should know the whereabouts of that company. Secondly, you should know about what profile you have opted, which position you are applying for. So you are applying for a manager position, so you should be aware of the responsibilities of a manager position. They will ask you, okay, fine, you are applying for the position of a manager. Can you tell us some of the job responsibilities which you are going to handle here? What made you apply for this position? So you can share some of your experiences, some of your skills which matches that position or which matches that profile. So groom yourself up in that. Okay, if I am applying for this position, I should know the job responsibilities of this position. I should be able to answer the questions which are asked to me related to this job position. What are the responsibilities of a manager? I should know that. What kind of questions are expected from a manager? I should know that if I am applying for that job. What are my experiences or background which supports me applying for this job? Understood? So you should be prepared for all these things. Now they will ask you questions. There can be different kind of interviewers you can face when you go for an interview, my dear students. You can face different kind of interviews. One type of interviewer is a booster. A booster type of interview will try to tell you about himself rather than asking questions about you. So what he will tell you, okay, I am this, I am that, I have done this in life, so he will try to give more information about him. He will not be bothered to it is on your luck what kind of an interviewer you get, right? So it's total destiny of getting the type of interviewers. Every interviewer will be different from the other based on his personal behavior. So first type I told you are the boosters who will try to boost about themselves. Only try to tell about themselves and this, that and that, and they will hardly be bothered about getting information from you, the purpose for which they are there. They forget that purpose. The second type of interviewers are, you know, the teachers. The teachers will try to pull your legs. Okay, they will try to pull your legs, or they will try to, no, the teachers will try to teach you lesson. Okay, if you have answered something, okay, okay, this is this, okay, they will start explaining you your own answers. So these are the teacher type of interviewers who will start explaining you your answers. Understood. So you can face those teacher type of interviewers, but you should patiently listen to them, because what does the teacher expect? The teacher expects the student to be quiet and listen to him carefully. So you will have to listen to them whatever they are saying. See, whenever you are going for a job interview, it becomes very, very important for you to satisfy the ego of the interviewer. Maybe you are more knowledgeable than the interviewer in some things, but you have to satisfy the ego, because he's the interviewer, so he is at a senior position than you, definitely. That is why he has come to interview you for that position. So you should understand that fact, and even if you have a higher knowledge base, don't try to downgrade the ego of the interviewer. You have to respect his ego. So even if he is speaking wrong, be polite, patient, and humble to accept it that time. It is for your good, right? Or there is a way of addressing if something you are not, agreeing with, then in a very manipulative way or in a very positive way, you can express your concern, right? So this is one thing. The other thing is, the other type of interviewers, I've told you about boosters, I've told you about teachers, and the other type of interviewers are you can call them as prosecutors. So, who are the prosecutors? The prosecutors are the lawyers who will think that they are the lawyer and the interview has done a legal offense in coming and giving the interview. So they will treat you as an offending party. Whatever answer you will give, they will try to pull your legs. जैसे lawyer कैसे करता है? How does the lawyer do? The lawyer will pull your legs for everything, because you are a criminal. So such kind of interviewers treat themselves as lawyers, and the opposite party, that the interviewee, they treat them as like they have done a crime for coming for the interview. Understood? So they will treat you as criminals. Whatever answer you are giving, they will try to, raise questions on that. They will try to take them very negatively. Understood? So such kind of interviewers, if you get, it is your bad luck, and they are called prosecutors type of interviewers, right? Then the other type of interviewers are, you can get, programmers kind of interviewers. So who are the programmers? The programmers are the best type of interviewers. They are those type of interviewers who will, in a very programmed way, design questions for your interview. They will be very humble to you. They will be focused on the purpose of interview, and they will always try to get the maximum information from you in a very positive way, by making you feel very much comfortable, and by putting forward a logical set of questions to you. So what is a program? A program is a series of instructions designed in a logical sequence, right? So similarly, they will throw questions on you, or they will ask questions to you in a very sequential way. First, they will ask your personal information, then they will go to your subject knowledge, then they may go to your behavioral, skills. So they will try to make you very much comfortable, and in a very positive and logical fashion, they will try to get your information. So such type of interviewers are the best, and they are called the programmers. The programmers always come prepared for the interview. They come prepared for the interviews because, they come prepared for the interviews with a proper set of questions. Though they are very experienced, they can ask you any questions, but they understand what is the interview. They go through your CV before coming there, and they prepare their own set of questions to ask you, depending on your CV and depending on the profile which you have applied for. So such prepared interviews will always, in a programmed fashion, take out information from you. They will be very humble to you, and they'll make you feel very much comfortable. Understood, my dear students? So such type of interviewers are best. The other type of interviewer is a daydreamer. Who is a daydreamer? A daydreamer is a person who will be lost in the dream world like this. So they ask you a question, and when you answer, they sleep or doze off. Or otherwise they are very diverted. They will be in their own dream world. So they are only bothered about asking the questions but not listening to the answers. I ask you a question, what is your name? You answer your name and I am thinking about my friends. Understood? So that time my intention only is to ask questions from you, not to listen to your answers. So such type of interviewers are also not authentic because they are the daydreamers who will ask questions for the sake of asking but not be bothered about the answers you are revealing to them. Then the other types of interviewers are the friends. The friends will always make you feel like you are their friend. And they will try to uselessly intrude your personal territories. They will try to ask you personal questions. They will ask you, okay, from where do you belong? Okay, this place, I'm also from this place, or my mom is from this place, or whatever, XYZ. And then they will ask, divert from the main purpose of the interview, asking questions about your subject knowledge. They start talking about that place and, okay, in this place, this is very good, that is very good, and all that. So they totally dissuade from the purpose of the interview. They get totally dissuaded from the purpose of the interview. So these kind of interviewers are totally false interviewers. They will not try to get the knowledge, but just for the interview sake, they are coming and asking you useless questions. They uselessly try to, give you smiles or try to become too much friendly with you. So they should not be appreciated or they shouldn't be entertained much. If someone is trying to get close to you in the interview or personal to you in the interview or smiling a lot, something like that, so you don't entertain all those things in an interview. Now, they may ask you questions. First is actual questions related to the topic. They may ask you questions related to your subject knowledge. That is called the actual information they are wanting to take from you. And second one are the biographical. Biographical people are those who will try to, ask questions based on your background to get your past information and the information about your experiences. So they want to seek information about your biography, that is about your past experiences. So one is which is bothered about your subject knowledge will ask you actual questions. The other one is who is bothered more about your experiences will ask questions related to your past experiences. Now, according to the methods, the interview can be formal and informal. According to the methods, it can be formal and it can be informal. So, formal interview is an interview which is, very formally done for the purpose of exchanging information formally. The example, a job interview, which is a formal interview where both the parties don't know each other, but they are trying to get the information for some formal purpose. So that is a formal interview. Informal is not scheduled also and it is very unspecific. It happens, for example, in organization, 3 or 4 employees working at the same level, same hierarchical level, they want to meet on one particular problem which is occurring or something, they want to discuss about some general thing. So they will discuss our time, okay, when you are free, and they will just sit and they will, discuss informally about those things. So mealtime meetings, lunchtime meetings, etc. are examples of informal interviews where there is no specific method and they ask questions on general basis. Now, once again. According to the goals. So according to the goals, the interview can be usual, traditional or in groupings. So usual is, the good example is the search for the evidences about the witness of the scene. Then traditional, the aim is to get accurate information needed for the entertainment of the people and avoid judgment to the person. And then groupings are in a group. This is about the numbers of the interviewer and interviewee. Job interviews I have talked about. You must know that is why a person coming to the interview shouldn't expect just to impress the interviewer with his or her professional success, but must be prepared to face all the hurdles that interviewer places before them. Since the job profile is very diverse, so it makes little sense if there is only one type of interview structure. So you should not groom yourself only up in your subject knowledge, but also in your interpersonal skills and your behavioral knowledge, conduct, general knowledge, as well as on your information on the CV. For example, an interview structure that is appropriate for a sales representative will be of little help when the interviewer wants to select a person in the management role. So a sales interview will be different from a management interview because managerial skills are different from sales skills. Sales and marketing skills are different, managerial skills are different. So when I'm going to interview a salesperson, my questions would be different. When I'm going to interview a management person, my questions would be different. So when a sales executive is coming for an interview, he should prepare himself for questions related to sales and marketing. Whereas when a person is applying for a management position, he should groom himself about question and answers related to management. So you should know which profile you are applying for and you should prepare yourself for the questions related to that particular profile. So a salesperson will prepare more on questions related to sales and marketing, whereas a management person will, prepare himself more for the questions related to managerial skills, right? So with increasing competition in the job market, there are different type of job profiles which are there in front of you. There is a lot of competitions, and with that, the way the interviews are conducted are also vast and varied. So you need to prepare yourself, groom yourself from now. Start taking books, going to websites which groom you for your interview skills. Okay, refine your talent, your subject knowledge. Keep on updating your subject knowledge. Whatever is your subject, you should keep on updating. And if you just your subject knowledge, you keep it in one desk, in one rack, and you forget it later on. You don't update and modify, then you might forget it. So keep on updating it. Keep on going through these questions. Keep on grooming yourself on your behavioral, interpersonal skills, questions based on your CV. Go through the website, go to the books, etc., etc. So different kinds of interviews. Here we are going to see the different kinds of interviews. So the first one is the traditional interviews. The traditional interviews are the most common types, and these are the face-to-face interviews which you face when you go for a job thing. So the main concept of the interview is to build rapport with the interviewer and show how the qualification with the benefit their organization. The interview should maintain eye contact and respond to all the questions of the interviewer. So here I explain you. Face-to-face interview is a generally interview where both the opposite parties are present face to face in front of each other. So such interviews, the example is a job interview. In a selection interview, the interviewer would be there to ask questions face to face to the interviewee, and he will have to answer them. So what are the important things which will make him succeed in this? He should understand the nature of the interviewer, what he is actually wanting to know from you. You should satisfy his questions. You should satisfy his queries. You should make him feel that he thinks that yes, you are the person suitable for the organization. Understood? You should make him feel that not only your qualification but also your behavioral traits and your skills and experiences are suitable for the job. You should make him satisfied, by giving him answers which you should understand the psychology of the interviewer, what he is wanting from you. And accordingly, you should give your answers. Apart from your subject knowledge, you should be very patient and you should have a very positive behavior and a very patient behavior in the interview. Don't rush to give your answers. Listen to the question of the interviewer with patience. Once you listen to the question, understand the question and then give the answer. Take time in giving your answers. Don't rush. Hasty replies might lead to, negativity. Because in haste, you may reply something wrong. So it's better to think and reply rather than giving hasty replies. Be very balanced, be patient, be charming, be smiling, and, satisfy the ego of the interviewer and try to understand his psychology and accordingly deal with him, accordingly give him answers. Another important thing is your eye contact at the time of the interview, my dear students. At the time of the interview, suppose there are 3 interviewers sitting in front of you. So you have to maintain individual eye contact with all the 3 people. Because if you are maintaining only eye contact with one person and you are ignoring the other two persons, they might give you negative marking. Understood? So eye contact is also a very, very important thing. You should not look down and speak. You should not look here and there and speak. But you should look in the eyes of the interviewer and speak. Understood? So you should look in the eyes of, if there is one interviewer, look in his eyes and speak. If there are three interviewers, look in their eyes and then speak. So you should maintain eye contact with the individual interviewers when you are speaking. You should focus on the individual interviewers when you are speaking. Understood? So at the time of the interview, because it is a face-to-face communication, first, and your gestures and postures should be very attentive. They should make the interviewer feel that you are interested in that job, that profile, that company. Make a very, kind of this sit straight, be attentive, be alert, be charming, be smiling. Okay, look, have a proper eye-to-eye contact with the interviewer. Understood? Have a proper eye-to-eye contact with the interviewer. And don't get diverted here and there. Be focused on the eyes of the interviewer. So these are the important things, on the important parameters based on which you would be selected. Apart from your subject knowledge, your soft skills are very, very important. So in the face-to-face interviews, eye contact plays a very important role, apart from the way you are speaking. And please, I told you, if it is a job interview, satisfy the ego of the interviewer. Next, we go to panel interviews. Now, what are panel interviews? A panel interview comprises more than two members interviewing a person for a thing. As I told you, if there is one person interviewing you, he is your interviewer. If there are more than 2-3 persons, then it is called as a panel of interviewers. If it is more than more than one person taking your interview, it becomes a panel. So it is most common mode of interview when hiring. So at the time when your professional selection is taking place, they will, at the time professional selection is taking place or job interview is done, generally they call a panel of experts. So when you go for a job interview, you will have a panel of experts in front of you. So a panel of experts is difficult to deal with, my dear students. So start your practice from now. Because the panel, there would be different people, and every person will have his own, will want his own ego satisfaction, and will be, every person in the interview committee or the interview panel, you will have to satisfy them. Understood? So this is important to understand all the interviewers in the panel and satisfy the ego of all and maintain eye contact with all the panel members. The interviewee should try to connect with each interviewer, and the best way to do this is to read the personality of each interviewer. So the interviewee should try to connect with each interviewer. I'm telling you, in the panel, how many interviewers are there? 2, 3, 5, 6, whatever the number is. You have to maintain individual eye contact with each panel member, and you should try to satisfy the ego of each member. You should have a smiling face for all of them. That is a panel interview. In a panel interview, the interviewer tries to gauge the group management and group presentation skills of the interview. So when you are, sitting and in front of a panel of people, and this panel of people, they will judge you for your group skills. Like if you are in a group, how you will be able to manage the group, how well you will be able to manage how well you will be able to coordinate with all the group members, how well you will be able to present yourself in front of a group, how well would you be able to satisfy the communication with every person of the group. So this will be your management and group presentation skills would be judged through this. Now, the interviewee should maintain eye contact with the person asking the questions, but also seek eye contact with the other members of the panel. I told you eye contact is very important. If I'm asking a question, definitely you will look at me, but simultaneously you will also look to the person sitting next to the person who is asking questions. Because if you are only looking to the person who is asking you questions, and it means you are ignoring the other people sitting around in the panel. The entire panel is there for the selection, my dear students. So definitely look more in the eyes of the person who is asking you questions, but at the same time, as a matter of fact, accept that you should not ignore the person sitting next to the person asking questions. So you have to look in the eyes of the person who's asking you questions, but simultaneously keep an eye on the people sitting next to him also. Nowadays, phone interviews also are popular because with the global advancement, many the people have become located in distant locations, and because of that, every time it is not possible for them to commute such a long distances, and so sometimes to make these things more easy, and for some job profiles where face-to-face communication is not very important, telephonic interviews are taken because the subject knowledge is more important and they want to analyze by speaking to that person, then phone interview is done. Phone interviews are increasingly used in mass hiring. Sometimes for a particular position you require 50 people together. Understood? So it is not very feasible or very advisable to take the interview of those 50 people, calling one by one and taking their interviews, which is too much tedious, time taking also, and at the same time all the people also, it becomes very difficult to commute there. So it is better to take the numbers of those people and telephonically call them and hire them in such positions. The interview is conducted entirely over the phone, and this is very effective in eliminating any kind of a prejudice that may arise from the appearance and manner of the candidate. Sometimes when for a job profile you require only to talk to that person, you should know about his subject knowledge and the way he talks, etc. So you need not to know about his how he looks or whatever. Understood? So at those places where you want to do a mass hiring and the looks are not very important, you can call telephonically and take telephonic interviews. Why the phone interview? So I told you, phone interview is used to narrow a field of candidates. That is why candidates should treat this interview with the same seriousness as a phone interview. Fine. So he will, they are, phone interviews should also be, they are taken for the purpose of mass selection, I told you, or for a purpose where the appearance is not important, but they should be taken equally seriously by the candidates. The candidate should focus on the conversation and listen to the questions carefully. In this interview, voice is also a key. So some places where voice is very important and they consider that your voice is very important. So they, through the telephonic interview, they will try to find out your voice modulations, tones, intonations, pauses, punctuations, etc. Coming in the way you speak, and then through the telephonic interview they will try to find out your subject knowledge and your about your voice, where your voice becomes an important parameter. So they, through your telephonic interview, they will try to find out how is your voice modulations, intonations, tones, pitch, accent, pauses, pronunciations, etc., etc. Apart from that, they will also see and understand how well you listen. As yesterday we have learnt about what is the importance of listening. So in a telephonic interview, it is a very important skill also as well, listening. You should first listen to the question very properly. Sometimes what happens in a telephonic interview, when question is asked to you, you will answer it simultaneously. So a lot of confusion is created and the interviewer gets agitated of you. And the interviewer gets agitated of you and thinks that, this person, he doesn't have patience to listen to me and he's speaking simultaneously and he's creating the total confusion. So you should not make that thing, apparent, and you should understand that you have to listen carefully, you have to listen patiently, you have to understand the question, wait for a second, pause, and then answer your question. Don't speak simultaneously. Have patience. Develop your listening skills. Understand what the interviewer wants to speak, and then answer him. Answer him with clear voice, in a slow and steady voice. Maintain your tone and modulation. Understood? So this is important in a telephonic interview, that you don't speak simultaneously with the other person, but you listen to him and then speak. And secondly, that you have a very clear voice and that you make yourself understandable by the speaker, and also you listen to the interviewer properly. Then you go to the group interview. Now, what is a group interview? As I told you, one second. So what is a group interview? A group interview is an interview which is to see how the interviewer interacts with others and how he or she influences others with knowledge and reason. So interviews happening in a group are group interviews. Why group interviews? Group interview is the best way to discover the leadership skills of the candidate. So as I told you, group discussion, we have done it yesterday. So a group discussion is a type of a group interview where the analyzer will see how you are discussing with the other persons, how you are asking them questions, how you are making them involved in the conversation, and he will try to, understand your interpersonal skills through the interview. The leading candidate who was selected from the group are then taken for an informal one-to-one interview. So the candidates who are performing good in a group discussion and who are judged for their interpersonal and leadership skills. Yes, this candidate is having the leadership and interpersonal skills. He is speaking properly. He is taking the lead role. He is persuading the others to participate in the group discussion. So such persons are selected because it is found out that they will have good leadership skills. So this person is selected. Now after selecting him from that group, now he will be taken for a personal one-to-one interview. Now next one is stress interview. What is stress interview? As the name suggests, putting you under unusual stress. So the interviews which put you, there are some job positions where you are required to deal and make decisions under stress. So suppose a manager many times have to take decisions under very crucial situations. He has to have crisis management. Sometimes the company can be in a crisis situation, he will have to make a decision. It will be a stress situation where he has to make a decision, where he has to, answer. So he has to overcome that stress there. So this type of an interview is a rare interview and required for some rare positions, especially the position which require dealing with stress, dealing with crisis situation, etc., decision making, etc., etc. So in such situations, the candidate will be put under an unusual stress to try and find out how the candidate performs at the time of stress. Because there are some people who might be very intelligent, who might be having very good behavioral skills, who might be having a good subject knowledge, but who don't have the, who don't have the guts to deal with stress. In stress situations, they become panicked, they become confused, they become lost, they become incapable of arriving to decisions. Understood? So in such situations, they are not able to deal such situations properly. So such candidates will not be deserving for those stress posts. Means those posts where such kind of stress has to be dealt. For example, to become a manager, you need to be a stress manager. Stress manager means you need to be a person who can manage, situations at the time of crisis, stress, and all these times. Understood? So at those times, you should be able to manage that stress. So such interviews are the stress interviews. So it is very common interview method when selecting for sales position. For a sales position, a sales executive or a sales manager has to be dealing with such situations. So those people in sales job can be, put under stress interview. Because sales and marketing skills are those which require a lot of stress management. So what is the technique of such kind of interview? They will start, one of the technique is bombarding questions on you. So they will ask questions to you, they will bombard questions to you, means they will not let you wait and stop and answer. They will continuously ask you questions. Okay, what is the name, what you do this, how you will do this, when you will do this, what you will do when this happens, What next? What next? What next? They will keep on asking you questions. They will bombard questions on you. Understood? So when they are bombarding questions on you, then you become, if you are a person who will manage stress, you will be able to patiently answer the questions. Even then, they are bombarded on you continuously. Understood? So even if they are bombarding questions on you continuously, you will be able to manage them. And you will be able to very well or in a managed way answer those questions. But if you will be a person who become more stressed with any kind of a stress on you, then you will become totally nervous. Oh, they are asking continuously, they are asking questions, you become lost, you are not able to answer. So in such situations, the person is, such an interview will make the interviewer decide whether this person is suitable for this job position or not. So for a sales executive, he should be a person who can deal with stress. So when questions are bombarded on him, he should patiently answer them. This is the technique for getting selected for the interview. If you are relaxed and answer the questions patiently, even though they are bombarded on you, then you are selected. If you're a person who gets all the more nervous with a lot of questions on you, then you are deselected. Means you are not selected. Because you are not selected because you are not able to deal with that stress. So understood? Even if you are a candidate who is having a good knowledge, even if you are a candidate who is having a good behavior, even if you are a candidate who is having good interpersonal skills, but if you are not able to manage your stress, for the positions where stress management is required, you need to groom yourself up in these things. So students, if you want to go for a sales or marketing position, start preparing you for stress management right now. Why stress interviews? This interview is an attempt to see how the candidates handle themselves under stress. So the interviewer deliberately assumes an argumentative position. The trick for the interviewee to remain calm under such a situation. They may ask you bombard questions on you. This is one technique. The other questions is argument. They can, they will put you under useless arguments. And some of the candidates, they will become impatient. They start, doing arguments, and they start, back answering you and all that. Whereas there are some of them who will understand that, no, here I have to behave very patiently. Let me not get into the argument. Let me try to manage it very patiently and coolly and calmly. Those will be the candidates, my dear, who would be selected. So stress interview techniques are, one is putting you under, constant question answers, means bombarding questions on you. The other technique is putting you into useless argumentative situations. Try to avoid yourself from those situations. Try to be patient. Try to manage your calm in such situations. See, so here it is written, a brief about what stress interview means, being asked more than one question at a time, being asked further questions without being allowed to respond, means without giving any breaks, continuously asking questions to you, being questions in a very rude voice or tone, being asked an unrelated bunch of questions. You are asked the questions which are not related to you. They ask you weird questions which are not related to your interview, but they will keep asking questions about it. Okay, why the tree is green? How green trees will help us? How planting trees will help you? Means something which is not related to your job, but they will keep on asking you questions without any sense and continuously. Or they may provoke some of your feelings. Why should you love your parents? Why should you respect your parents? Why is this important? Why is that important? What if you do this crime? Nothing. They will try to put you into useless argumentative situations. So try to maintain a calm and answer the questions positively. This is the only technique to clear these interviews. Maintain your calm. Be patient. Don't get argumentative. Answer in a very relaxed way. Be relaxed. Don't get into unusual stress or panic. This is the technique of interview. You will have to overcome it with your calm and with your patience. So this is what is a stress interview. Now journalistic type of interview, Boys and Girls Clubs of America, myclublife.com production. So these boys and girls will be interviewed to advertise this club. So for advertisement purposes, journalistic purposes, this interview can happen. Now, tips on how to interview. I told you the tips for you when you are an interviewee. But when you become an interviewer, what an interviewer should know? He should know the time limits. He should know the way of asking the question. He should not insult the interviewer or interviewee. He should not pull the legs of the interviewee. He should, make the interviewee feel in place or very comfortable. He should stay calm and ask, questions when, he should understand what the interviewee wants to speak. Now, preparation for an interview. So the preparations have to be done by both the interviewers and the interviewees. The preparation by you, I have told you, groom yourself in interpersonal skills, groom yourself for your subject knowledge, groom yourself for your general knowledge, and for your behavioral skills and presentation or public speaking skills. These 4-5 skills will help you come or get through your interview. Now, for the interviewer, he has to do a lot of research before he actually conducts a formal interview. So for a formal interview to be conducted, lot of research and working has to be done, lot of money has to be capped, and lot of, it's a long procedure. Excuse me. Showing that you know about the subject may also make your source respond more positively to you and your questions. Prepare questions to ask and bring pen and paper and tape recorder with you to the interviewer. Make an appointment and arrive on time. So, the preparations by the interviewer are many. He has to fix the venue. He has to fix the day, time, date of the interview. He has to prepare the interview letters. He has to, make proper arrangements for the seating of the candidates who have come for the interview. He should make proper arrangements for the proper seating arrangements, snacks, tea, etc., water, etc. for the candidates. Then the interviewer has to do the research before he comes for the interview. Research means he should, prepare the questions before he's coming for the interview. He should know for which purpose the interview is going to be held, for which position, for which purpose. Based on that, he should prepare his list of questions in a sequential way to get the maximum output from the interviewee. If the interviewer is not prepared, he will not be able to take a good interview from the interviewee. So, in order to take good interviews from the interviewee, it becomes very, very important for the interviewer to prepare himself for the interview properly. He should prepare himself for the interview properly, and then only he will be able to take the interview properly. He should prepare questions to ask. He should bring pen, paper and tape recorder with him for the interview. And he should make an appointment and arrive on time. The interviewer should be there on time, and he should have all the things, resources in his hand. He should have paper, he should have pen, he should have a proper table done, and he should, arrive well before time so that, he is already settled. And he should have a list of questions prepared for the interviewee, because when he is prepared, then the interview will go well. Now, introduce yourself and explain what you are doing and for whom. Ask the source's name and title and make sure you have the correct spelling. Misspelling is an offense worthy of firing at some publications and may earn you a failing grade if you are a student. So, if you don't know to spell something properly, means pronounce something properly, don't speak it. Speak some other word. Rather than mispronouncing anything, pronounce properly. Don't speak negative about anything, any company, any product, anything. Because, if you speak something negative, you can be caught. So, rather than being negative in an interview, always try to be positive and always try to give positive remarks about things, companies, etc. Suppose they ask you why you have left your previous organization. You might have left your previous organization because you were not satisfied with the work there, but you can say that, you can manipulate and say that because you were getting a better option here. So rather than speaking negative about that company, you are speaking positive about this company, which is always good. So try to avoid negative perceptions and negative attitude in your interview and try to have a positive attitudes in your interviews. I told you don't forget the eye contact. Eye contact is very, very important and crucial to an interview. So have a proper eye contact with all the interviewers and look into their eyes properly, and always your eyes will answer so many things. So have a proper eye contact, but don't stare at them, they'll be afraid of you. Don't stare, but look into the eyes so that they always feel that yes, you are alert and interested in the interview. And you can write some important things if you want during the interview. Also consider the surroundings of the interview and the source's behavior, which is important. Follow up. Do not tell the source that the story will be written a certain way. An editor may want to take the story in a different direction. Be as honest with the source as possible. I told you, don't ever cheat or never speak wrong to the interviewer. Always speak positive and be true to your interviewers, because they are experienced people, they will catch you. Thank you for understanding this. Now we proceed to the job interview. I've told you the different types of interviews. Now, what is more important for you is job interview. So let's go to the tips and techniques of the job interview. So the job interview tips and techniques are, you can, I told you that, prepare yourself on the general type of interview questions. The general type of interview questions you will get on the website. Then you will get, books related to interview techniques, interview skills, interview question and answers. You will get in the market. Go and search for such books, get them now and start preparing questions. Websites, internet page, nowadays there are so many sites which have question answers related to interview techniques and tips. Go through them, keep on reading them, brush your mind, brush yourself always. Keep on updating your knowledge. Next is conduct research on the employer, hiring manager and job opportunities. How will you succeed in a job interview? How will you succeed? So it's not only by your subject knowledge that you will succeed. Success starts with a solid foundation of your knowledge, definitely, but you should also understand the employer, where you are going, who is interviewing you, which company you have applied for. You should know the background, the details of that company, the details of the employer, the background, why that company, what are the growth prospects in their company, what is your aim behind joining that company. So know about the employer. Employer background is very, very important. Wherever you are applying for a job position, in whichever company, learn about that company, surf a lot about that company, gather knowledge about that company before you go for an interview, because they will ask you, why us? What do you know about us? So you should be updated about the employer knowledge. So success in a job interview starts with a solid foundation of knowledge on the job. You should also understand the employer, the requirements of the job and the background of the person interviewing you. So you should know about the company, you should know about the job profile, and you should know about the interviewer. Apart from your subject knowledge, these three things you should know about. One is the company where you are applying. Second is the job which you are applying for. Third is the interviewer who is taking your interview. So apart from your subject knowledge, you should have the knowledge of all these three things. Then the more research you conduct, the more you'll understand the employer. The more you try to find out about that employer, the more you try to read out about it, the better you will be able to answer the interview questions, because you will then understand what the company is wanting. When you will do research about that company, you will know about that company now. Because when you are researching about the company, you will understand what the company is looking for in the employees. When you try to find out about the company, you will know all the nitty-gritties of the company, how the company keeps the employees, what the company expects of the employees. When you know the expectations of the company, you will be able to perform properly in the interview, keeping up the expectations of the employer. Now, hire me. Can you see? Why hire you? Why hire you? The common interview questions and prepare responses for those common interview questions, then they will hire you. So another key to interview success is preparing responses to the expected interview questions. I am telling you from the beginning. Prepare yourself for those interview questions. How? First, inquire as to the type of interview to expect. Which type of interview it is going to be, by contacting that organization. Second, your goal is composing the details, focusing on the examples and accomplishments. A good tool for remembering your response is to put them into a story that you can tell in the interview. So no need to memorize the responses, but at least develop the talking points if they ask you about yourself. So groom yourself about answering yourself to the best of your knowledge and the best way possible, the best way you can present yourself. Understood? Gather all those knowledge and prepare yourself for the general interview questions which are asked. Prepare yourself based on your CV, first of all. Prepare yourself for every word you put on your CV. See, this chapter is not only important for theoretical purpose, it is important for your future life. My dear students, after these courses you are going to go for interviews, you should know these skills. So I am telling you right away, go to the website today itself after the lecture. Go to the website, interview skills and techniques. Learn some questions, go through the questions there. Prepare your CV right away. अभी तक आपने जो भी किया, whatever you have done till now, prepare yourself. Whatever you have done till now, prepare your CV. On your CV, write down your professional qualifications, your educational qualifications, your academic background, your family background, your objectives, your hobbies, your achievements, your awards, and even if you have some professional experience, write it down. My dear students, it is very, very important. A good tool for remembering your responses is to put them into story form that you can tell in the interview. So you can prepare some kind of a creative story to tell about yourself. Now, one of the most important thing to clear an interview, very, very important, is to arrive on time. See, 1 month before you started preparation for the interview, 1 year before you started, you are well prepared, you are having a very good subject knowledge, you are having a very good general knowledge, you are, very nicely dressed, you have a good, you have refined and groomed your behavior, your personality, your interpersonal skills, and everything you have what is required for the success of the interview. Fine. So you're going to clear it, right? Yes, you're going to clear it. But there can be one thing which can stop you from clearing it. Your impunctuality. If you don't reach the place in time, what will happen? You reach the place. Oh, yeah, you have the interview, your turn has come, please go. You reach the place, you have to enter into the room, right? You enter into the room, you are so totally confused and you are totally in a panic. They ask you questions. Because of that panic and stress, you are not able to answer the questions properly. Because what happened, you rushed in, you got late for the interview. You arrived late, so in a panic, you have to enter the interview room and all your behavioral traits, all your knowledge went into a bin. Why? Because that time has created the difference. If you were too late, you couldn't fight the interview. If you just came on time also, you were so panicked because you had to rush in, and because you were rushed in, you were unrelaxed. Jab mind relaxed, when your mind is not relaxed, you are not able to perform up to the level you had performed otherwise. So your 1 year of hard work went into a vain. All your efforts were in vain then, because you came late for the interview. It created the entire difference. So the year of hard work has got totally wasted just because of your arriving late for the interview. So, my dear students, it is very, very important that you should understand the importance of a job interview and take it very seriously. Understand where where the interview is going to be held. On your letter, they will clearly mention the address, date, time, venue, everything. Go through the date, set an alarm for that date, set the time for the date where you have to leave, record that place. If you are new to that place, try to find out that how much time it takes from your place to that place to reach. Understood? Try to find out, what are the medium of commuting through which you can go to that place fastest. How much time it will take? Go to that place once from your place. If it is far off, go to that place once. See how much time it will take. Okay, it will take 1 hour. So start from your place 2 hours before. Try to reach the interview place half an hour before. It is always appreciated. It is always admired. It will always create support for you. It will be a good help for you. When you reach half an hour before, you can go there, sit comfortably, relax yourself, get acquainted to the place, understand the surrounding, get used to it. When you are used into or friendly to someone, you will be definitely comfortable. You are new to a place, so you are not, if you are new to that place, you will not be very much familiar to it. So unfamiliarity will create indifference. Understood? But if you reach half an hour early, you go to that place, you sit comfortably, you look here and there, you try to be friends with the other people sitting around, you talk to them, you relax yourself, you relax mentally, you get acquainted to that place, you get familiar to that place, and which will create a mental stability and a relaxed mind. Relaxed, you will feel rather more relaxed. Understood. So it is very, very important that on the day of the interview, you should never be late. At least one day we can manage with our time, which is the important day of our life, isn't it? So please never do this. See, what will happen for your exams if you reach late? You will waste the time. So if you go half an hour late, you will not be able to write one answer. Maybe you miss that. Similarly, for an interview, if you go late, what will happen? You will either your turn will go, or otherwise if it will come also just, then you will be very unfamiliar with that place, you will be unstable, anxious, and your mind will be unrelaxed and your performance will be nil. Because see how we perform when our mind is relaxed and stable. If our mind is unrelaxed, we are not able to perform. So to give a good performance and a good result, we should have a stable mind. This is important. So the day before the interview, pack up extra copies of your resume or CV and reference. If you have a portfolio or samples of your work, bring those too. Finally, remember to pack several pens and a pad of paper to jot the notes. This all is very, very important. See, when you are coming for an interview, you have to do a preparation. The preparation, apart from preparing yourself, you need some other preparations. What are the preparations? You need to prepare your dress for the day of the interview. Okay, I'm going to wear this dress and this pair of shoes which will match my dress. Prepare that complete set and the accessories which you are going to wear with that dress. Fine. Select the dress, wash it properly, get it ironed, polish your shoes, and put your accessories together, assemble all of these things and keep them a day before at least. Understood? And after that, the other preparation is for your folder. Your folder should consist of your CV, your testimonials, your credentials, certificates arranged in a logical order with the original and the Xerox copies. So if you are required to produce any certificate, if they require, should not say that I have not got my testimonials. For an interview, for a selection interview, it becomes necessary for you to carry whether they have asked you or not. Even if they have not asked you to produce the documents, you take with you, because maybe if some need comes that you have to show your documents, so you should get with you. Fine. So get your credentials, documents and certificates with you. Get your photographs with you. Assemble all of them in a logical order of your educational qualifications, professional qualifications and experiences, etc. All the testimonials and certificates in a in a logical order, in a proper folder. Put a pen, take a proper pen, which is proper working pen, right? Take, take some photographs of yours, passport size photos should be there. Take your identity proof with you. Everything should be assembled in your folder. So if they ask for any identity proof, any testimonial or a photograph, everything should be ready, which will give an impression that yes, this person has come with total interest and he is a very orderly person who has assembled everything orderly and is present with everything there. So he will always be responsible. So it gives a positive impression. And prepare your dress properly according to the occasion. It is a formal interview, so select some shades, formal shades like grey, dark blue, navy blue kind of. Then, you can take brown or grey or white or black. Such shades are more preferable. Avoid, jazzy kind of a shades like yellow, red, green and all these. Don't, prefer all these shades and, prefer these shades which look decent in a formal conversation. And, select the dress appropriate to the occasions, like you can wear formal trousers or proper leggings and kurtas, or, proper boys can wear shirts and trousers, etc. And, whatever matching, whatever shoes you think that are fitting to that formal occasions and matching your dress, choose those shoes, polish them before, a day and keep them, ready. Right? So dressing and grooming also plays a very important role. Prepare your dress according to the interview, prepare it properly and, keep it nicely, tidily done, washed and ironed before the occasion. And so the day everything is prepared, and understand the time, how much time it will take to reach that place. Before only go and surf it once. So the day, if you think that it will require 2 hours to reach that place, at least it will require 1 hour to reach that place. So at least leave your house 2 hours before. So you should keep a 1 hour margin in between, because anything can happen on the way. There could be some kind of unusual traffic or some kind of a block or traffic jam or something like that. So always keep yourself safe in that case. 1 hour early if you will reach, it is not a problem. But 1 hour late, if you reach, it will create all the more difference. Understood? So it is very, very important. And preparation of your CV should be it is also very, very important. The preparation of your CV. So, you have to prepare your CV according to according to all authenticity and based on the truest knowledge which you have, whatever you have done. Put them in a logical order on your CV and, print it in, in a form which is properly readable without any spelling mistakes, any kind of a grammatical mistakes or formatting errors. It should be properly done, neatly done and formatted properly, professionally, and everything should be, all the details of related to your educational and professional background should be there on your CV. So your CV is the first thing which will take you to success. In some companies, it is also like first they ask for your CV. So you will have to mail your, post your CV to that place. And then after, suppose they get 100 CV and they want only 20 candidates. So out of 100, they will shortlist 50 CVs. So at the first place, your selection is done only by your CV. So your CV has to be a properly written document. We are going to talk about CV later, and it has to be a very proper document with all your details true to your knowledge and properly formatted and very well written and drafted properly. And because it is the first thing which will make, give your first impression and which will help you in the first phase of your selection. So in some companies, they shortlist you based on your CVs only. Okay, they will go through the CV. He has these qualifications, this background. Let me take him. You will be selected. Some of the candidates may be rejected based on the CV only. So first thing is you will be shortlisted based on your CV, and after that remaining is your appearance and your answers of the questions. So at the first phase, getting selected is through your CV. So prepare and update your CV properly according to the entire knowledge you have. And second is prepare yourself on the interview question answers and the question answers which can be asked on the basis of your CV and of course your subject knowledge and general knowledge. Now, make good first impressions. As you know, first impression is the last impression. So when you enter the cabin, that entering part will create a lot of impression, you know. The way you enter, the way you smile, the way you look at the interviewers, the way you take their permissions, the way you sit, everything will count. So see, that will be your first impression before the interview starts. So give a positive first impression. So a cardinal rule of interviewing is be polite and offer warm greetings to everyone you meet. Whomsoever you are meeting, you are greeting them very warmly. From parking attendant or receptionist to the hiring manager. Understood? Employers are curious how job applicants treat the staff members. Means the people, they are more curious about, more than your subject knowledge, they are curious about the way you behave with them. Understood? So you should never be rude or arrogant. Should be very polite, very calm. Calm and composed, polite. Understood? That is important. When it is time for the interview, keep in mind that first impression is giving a positive body language or body language impression to the interviewer. So the ones interviewers make in the first few seconds of greeting you can make or break an interview. Make a strong first impression by dressing well, arriving early, and when greeting your interviewer, stand properly, smile, make eye contact, and offer a firm handshake. Good morning, greet them. If it is a morning, greet them. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever the time of the day is. So how you have to do? Enter the room properly, positively with a straight, posture. Then look into the eyes of the interviewer. Keep smiling. Have a firm handshake. And this is the way you give a positive impression to the interviewer. Remember that having a positive attitude and expressing enthusiasm, being energetic throughout the interview, being positive throughout the interview, and these are the vital things to the initial stages of your selection, my dear students. And hiring managers will make critical decisions based on your behavioral traits. And if the interview is suppose of half an hour, so the first 15 minutes they will only try to analyze on your behavior. So what are the things which you have to take care? Keep smiling. Smiling means not over smiling but keeping a positive smiling face. Look in the eyes of the interviewer. Stand straight, sit straight. Be attentive, be energetic and enthusiastic throughout the interview. Don't feel dull or nervous or diverted. Be attentive. Be composed. Be calm. Be patient. Even if they are trying to insult you or pull your leg, don't try to be reactive. Be positive. Be composed. Be very, patient. You have to have a patience. You have to satisfy the ego of the interviewer. This is a bitter truth which you have to agree and accept. Then comes your body language. Body language I have told you about, the dress you wear, the gestures, sit straight, don't have any arrogant or rude gestures, don't put your hands in your pockets, have a proper eye contact, keep smiling, have solid and active postures, be energetic, sit in a way that you are very much interested in that thing. Have a proper eye contact. Don't get diverted and deviated every time. Understood? So these are important body language forms are keep smiling, have a proper eye contact, a solid posture, active listening and nodding. Means at everything they are saying, you nod your head and nod your head. Okay, yes. Means it will show that you are listening carefully. It will show that you are interested in the interview. It will show that you are agreeing with the interviewer. It will show your positive approach. So it shows your energy. It shows your positive approach. It shows your integrity. It shows your energy. It shows it reveals your interest in the interview. So then keep nodding. Understood? So these are important things. The interviewer is telling you something. Yeah, we have this and that, and okay. So agree with him. Nod your hand. Nod your head. So this is important. So what are the things you will take care pertaining to your body language? Keep smiling. Maintain a positive eye contact. Sit straight. Have active posture and gesture. Keep listening properly. Be attentive and nod your head to agree with the interviewer. Now, detrimental forms of body language is slouching, means which is not appreciated is slouching, means bending down, looking off in the distance, means you are not looking in the eyes of the interviewer, but you are looking here and there, which is not positive. Then playing with a pen, you start fiddling with the things in your hand, okay, fiddling with this, you playing with the things which are there in your hand. It shows your nervousness. So don't play, keep your hands in one position, right? Then fidgeting with the chair, okay, you are doing this and that, fidgeting with the chair, it shows your nervousness. Don't do that. Brushing back hair, again and again, doing this to your hair, okay, this, and you are trying to brush your hair. So that is not a correct gesture. Touching your face again and again, it shows that, it gives a negative impression. Chewing gum, I mean, something is there in your mouth and you're chewing, it is totally, totally negative. Then mumbling, something, keep on mumbling something. So which is negative impression. Understood? So avoid what all you have to practice. You have to practice these things. Eye contact, smiling face, straight gesture, proper listening and nodding. What you have to avoid? You have to avoid mumbling. You have to avoid chewing anything. You have to avoid touching your face. You have to avoid playing with anything in your hand or fidgeting with the chair or table in front of you. You have to avoid, putting hands in your pocket. You have to avoid looking down. You have to avoid having a long face. You have to avoid staring at the interviewer. You have to avoid, slouching, means bending down. You have to avoid looking off in the distance. You have to have a proper eye contact. So please write these important points, what you have to take care of and what you have to avoid. Please write it down. So now when you go for the interview, what you will do? Keep smiling. Yes. Be patient. Be active. Be energetic. Sit straight and look into the eyes of the interviewer. What you will avoid? Bending down. What you will avoid? Looking here and there. What you will avoid? Playing with anything in your hand. Playing with your chairs, fidgeting with the tables. Avoid all these things. Avoid chewing anything. Understood? So please take care of all these things which will create negative impressions. Now, it is not only the interviewer who is asking you questions. It is you also asking questions. An interview is an interaction between the interviewer and the interviewee for the purpose of exchange of information and for getting the knowledge of that particular thing. So if the interviewer wants to know about you, you also have the equal right to know about the interviewer. You are applying in a company for a job. So it becomes important for you to know about the company, to know about the profile which you have, applied for. So you have the equal right to ask questions. So first, when in an interview room, let the interviewer ask you questions. When he has finished his round of questions, then you should also ask any doubts or any queries or any questions related to the company or the profile if you want to ask the interviewer. But only ask insightful questions. Don't ask weird questions. Don't ask useless questions. Okay, how many holidays I'll be able to take and all that. So don't ask those type of questions. Okay, so ask questions like, the employer makes a judgment about an applicant's interest in the job by whether or not the interviewee asks the questions. Thus, even if the hiring manager was thorough in his or her discussion about the job opening and what is expected, you must ask a few questions. The smart job seeker prepares questions to ask day before the interview, adding any additional queries that might arise from the interview. So, it means that when the interviewer is asking questions from you, he will also tell you about his company. He will also tell you about the job position, and he may tell you some more details about the profile which has been offered to you. Fine. Apart from that, there could be some questions which you wanted to ask. So, before you go for the interview, at least some days before, try to analyze and ask questions related to that company and that profile which has been offered to you. Understood? So this is important that you ask questions related to that profile. Understood? So ask questions, prepare questions which you want to ask also as well. Okay, the interviewer will ask me all these questions, but let me also prepare some questions which I can ask. Okay, so prepare yourself not only for the answers but also some questions which you may want to ask. So even during the course of the interview, the interviewer has made clear to you about the job position and many other things related to the company. Even after that, at the end of the interview, when he has stopped asking questions and told many things about the company, even after that, as the interview has advanced, you might have some queries in your mind. So at the end of the interview, ask some questions, but which should be insightful questions related to that job position. Your asking questions will show your interest in the interview. Otherwise, the interviewer will think that yes, the interview has answered properly, but he has not shown any kind of an interest. He has not asked questions. So might as well he is not very serious about our job. So let us select the other candidate. Understood? So though you had a lot of knowledge and you answered properly, but they might not select you based on your less interest than the other member who had asked more questions. So they will think that yes, this candidate had asked questions, इसका मतलब वो join करेगा ही अगर उसको offer दिया जाए. Understood? And if you have not asked questions, they will think that you have just given the interview, but might as well you will not be very much interested. So they may not choose you. So it is important to show your interest in the organization, in the job. How you will show your interest? First of all, by attending the interview carefully, by giving the answers properly. Secondly, by asking questions about the company. And questions should be insightful. Don't ask foolish questions. Now, at the end of the interview, see, when you have completed the thing, the last impression is the best impression. Understood? So your last impressions have to be very, very good. So at the time when you leave or you take permission to leave, or when the interview is done, you should give a very positive impression to the interviewer. Understood? So as we have already seen from previous tips, common courtesy and politeness is important. The thanking part is very, very important. It is not that the interview has completed, you stand up and you go out. It will look very absurd. It will create a negative impression when the interview is over. They have stopped asking you questions. You have stopped, asking any queries to them. After that, you can ask them, may I now leave? And then, or they ask you to leave, then you may say thank you, thank all of you. Thanks. You should individually with your eye contact give your thanks or offer your thanks to every person sitting there in the panel of interviewers. So take their permission to leave, thank them, and positively, with a positive smile on your face, leave the room in a very patient and polite gesture. Understood? This is important. So start the process while at the interview, thanking each person who interviewed you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Whoever are there, thank everyone individually. Writing thank you emails and notes shortly after the interview will not get you the job offer, but doing so will certainly give you an edge over any of the other finalists who did not bother to say thank you. So it is not that the interview is completed and you go out and write a mail, thanks for the interview. That will not create any difference. But when the interview is completed, at that time itself, when you stand up, you should individually thank every member of the interview panel. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thanks for the interview. Have a good day. This way you should, thank and complete it, give a completed look to your interview and then go out. Leave the room with a positive smile on your face and in a very patient and calm, composed way, leave the room. Understood? So thanking part is also very important. There are some interviewees who will give the interview very nicely, who will, answer the questions very properly and all this. But at the end, they create a very negative impression because just the interview is over and they will stand up and move out without bothering to say thanks to the interviewer. And which will create a negative impression. So don't do that. Last impression is the best impression. So when first impression is also very important and last impression is also important. So when you enter the room, be positive. When you leave the room, also be positive and be thankful to the interviewers for being there to take your interview. The useful materials, as I told you, that you can find a lot of interview question answers. So there are books available in the market by the names of interview skills, interview techniques, preparations for an interview, and so on and so forth. And these are the websites where you can find questions related to different things. There can be situational interview questions, then behavioral. See, these are the different, I have, selected the useful materials for interview, which you can find on these sites. Interviewquestions360.com. So here you will find top 36 situational interview questions. Then you will find behavioral interview questions here. You will find second interview questions, management interview questions. You will find here phone interviews, competency-based interviews, internship interviews, job interviews, written tests, closing statements, and case studies, etc. So there are on this website, interviewquestions360.com, you will find different questions related to different interview situations. So see which one are useful for you. For example, for you, management interview is important. Go to that particular section from the site and prepare yourself for those questions. If suppose written test examples are important for you, go to those exercises and prepare yourself. If situational interview questions are important for you, go to that category and select that category and prepare those questions. So here you will find lot of useful materials on this website which I have written for you. Please take it down. All of you please write it down and please go through this website and find out different questions related to your interviews. There could be various fields related to your career. So see which field you want to opt for. Related to that field, gather your knowledge. Related to that field, prepare question answers. Field wise also, you will find questions on the website. So first of all, think, okay, I am doing this course. I need to apply for this field. Out of these so many fields, underline the fields where you want to apply for. Suppose out of these 50 fields, you want to select for any 4 fields where you can apply for your job. So encircle those fields. For example, you want to apply for technology, you want to apply for telecommunication, you apply for logistics, training, etc. So circle those fields. After circling those fields, try to prepare and groom yourself for the subject knowledge of these fields. Try to groom yourself for the questions based, try to nurture and groom yourself up based on the questions which can be asked for these particular profiles. So first important is to find out which fields you are applying for. So let us have a look at the various fields, the popular fields which you can apply for jobs. So they can be related to construction, manufacturing, healthcare, non-profit, advertising, agile, architecture, automotive agencies, budget, building, business development, consulting, communication, clinical research, design, software development, product development, interior design, web development, engineering, education, events, electrical, exhibition, energy, NGO, finance, fashion, green card, oil gas, hospital, IT, marketing, media, mining, non-technical, oil and gas, offshore, pharmaceuticals, real estate, retail, research, human resources, telecommunications, technology, technical, senior, digital, software, web, clinical, HR, infrastructural, business, ERP, creative, ICT, sales, quality management, UK implementation, network, operations, architectural, environmental, CRM, website, interactive, security, supply chain management, logistics training, project management, administrative management. So these are the general popular fields. I have told you, I have written for your, you have these fields in front of you and you can select from these fields. Select and choose from these fields which can be the possible fields based on your goal in life, based on your professional career which you have opted, which can be the fields which you can choose for applying for your job. So suppose if you have chose the construction field, so construction etc. से related जो भी है construction, engineering etc. Encircle those fields and then prepare yourself for those particular interview questions related to these fields. Then job titles also which you are applying for: entry level, junior, senior, assistant, associate, administrator, clerical, coordinator, consultant, controller, director, engineer, executive, leader, manager, officer, specialist, supervisor, VP, etc. Which position you are applying for? If you are applying for a director VP position, groom yourself for questions related to that field. If you are applying for a clerical position, groom yourself for the questions related to that title type. So understand first of all the job type which you are applying for, and second is the title type. Suppose you are applying for a management job. In management, which title? Junior management, senior management, or executive, management coordinator, consultant, what you want to become. Understood? So understand what is your field first. After understanding your field, understand your level. In this field, which level I am going to apply for? Am I going to apply for a senior level or a junior level or a mediocre level where I am going to place myself? Which job I am applying for? So please from here, from these fields, select the relevant fields and then select the title type, and then based on that prepare your question and answers. This will help you a lot, my dear students. So these are the fields related to the careers and these are the different title types. So at present, according to your professional qualifications and your experiences, select your field, select the title type and then prepare the questions. With this, we have completed the interview tips and techniques. So understood the different types of interview, understood what is an interview, what is the importance of an interview, and most important, what is a job interview, how to fight it, how to clear it. So I hope now you will be able to clear your interviews very properly by the inputs which have been given to me, to you by me. So please, use these inputs for your success. Groom yourself in your subject knowledge, your general knowledge, your interpersonal skills, your behavioral skills, as well as your complete interview preparation. So with this we complete the interview chapter also. Next chapter we go to is conferences. So can you tell me, one second. So the next chapter we are going to is teleconferencing system. For this, first of all, you should understand what is a conference. A conference is a group of people who sit together and interact formally to arrive on arrive on some decisions, solve some problems, or to exchange their views on formally on some subjects of contemporary relevance. So this is what is conferences. Have you ever attended any conference? So conferences can be on topics which are considered of contemporary importance, and people will gather in those conferences and try to give their insight and inputs about those subjects. So the conferences will help in broadening the knowledge of that subject, and for the conference will help to broaden the knowledge and the broaden the knowledge of that subject and make it more popular, because in some subjects you think that more research has to be done, so you can organize conferences related to those subjects. Apart from that, conferencing is done for purpose of meetings, purpose of discussions, and where you want to arrive on decisions, etc. You can do conferences to solve problems also, etc. So conferences are less formal than meetings, and they are less formal and they give more freedom to the people who are there in the conference. So a meeting is a very highly formal group, and very formal, and it has a very particular agenda, etc. But a conference is not very highly disciplined, or maybe you can say a conference is little flexible. It gives more freedom to the participants, and it is not based, it is having a particular schedule, but it doesn't have a specific agenda like a meeting has. Now we today are going to do the modern methods of conferencing. Now, as you know that this is a highly technologically advanced era. You agree with it that it is a highly technologically advanced era. So in such a era, people and the companies are situated far apart. Multinational companies have branches in different companies now. If one company has its one branch in India and the other in Japan, because of some issue, the manager of the branch of the same company in India and the branch of the same company in China, they want to interact with each other. They want to, discuss some important things. So how do they do it? Is it possible for every time for them to fly from one country to the other? It will become very difficult every time. So for this, technology has assisted us. Technology has aided us. It has helped us a lot. It has given us an edge to, it has given us an edge to overcome the barriers of time and distance. Through teleconferencing, people sitting from different parts of the world can come together and talk to each other. Many people at the same time. If my company has a branch, one branch in Japan, one in China, one in America, one in India, one in England, and so on and so forth, and the managers of the different branches want to come together and meet, how do they do? Every time all of them will not fly from one place to the other. It is not virtually possible. So teleconferencing has given us that that advantage. Through teleconferencing, we are able to meet each other anytime we want. Now meetings are possible after every regular periods. Meetings are possible because now we have overcome the barrier of distance. Sitting at my place, I can do conferencing with the manager sitting in other places. The other managers of the other branches in other countries, we all can come together and meet with the help of teleconferencing. Understood? So this is a system which has made virtual meetings possible. Understood? So what is not real but it is virtual. So actually you are not present there physically, but you are there. So you can look at each other, you can talk to each other simultaneously, just like it happens in a meeting. All 6 of you are talking to each other. Have you ever done a conferencing on your phone that you are talking to your friend and you say, okay, let me take another friend in conference? Have you done? 3 or 4 of you speaking together on a phone? It has become a common feature on a phone. We can take into conference the other person. So what is this taking into conference? Taking into conference means when one person is talking to other, it is just communicating. But conferencing is when we want to involve more people in that talk. Okay, I'm talking to you now. I want 2 of my friends also to get into a conversation. So we will take both of these friends into a conference with us. That is teleconferencing. So the word tele means distance. The word conference means discussion. So you can break this word and understand the meaning of this word. Tele means distance. Conference means discussion. So teleconferencing means what? Discussion over a distance or discussion across a distance. Understood? Telecommunication, distance communication means communicating between two persons who are in two different places. That is telecommunication. Teleconferencing is discussion. Discussion कब होता है? When there are two or more people. So communication between a group of people at the same time or across a distance is teleconferencing. So the difference between telecommunication and teleconferencing is telecommunication is the exchange of ideas between two persons, whereas teleconferencing means exchange of ideas and exchange of ideas and thoughts between a group of persons together, just like it happens in meetings. So through teleconferencing, two or more locations situated at a distance are connected so that they can hear or both see and hear each other. So because they are connected at distant locations with the help of technology, they can look at each other, they can listen to each other. Understood? So through teleconferencing, many people can talk simultaneously to each other. So when you are able to talk and see each other simultaneously as we do it face to face, then it is a teleconferencing. I am talking to 5 other people together and I am able to look at them also simultaneously with the help of the web camera, computer and the telephone which I have. So actually they are not present in front of me, but it appears that we all are in front of each other and we are talking just as we do in a real meeting. So technology has given us that edge. So teleconferencing allows the distant sites to interact with each other. Distant sites means one in America, the other in Japan, the other in China, the 3 people talking together. And with the teaching end through phone, fax and emails. Through these technologies, we are able to coordinate with each other. The interaction occurs in real time. Real time means there has to be a time set. Okay, the meeting is going to be held at 3 o'clock. So everyone should be present there at 3 o'clock. Understood? So if it is decided between 3 to 4, so all should be whatever time is in their country, and in this country and that country, everywhere the time is different. But what is 3 in my country, whatever time is in their country, he will understand that at this time I have to be there. Suppose it is 3 o'clock here and it means 5 o'clock there. So 5 o'clock he should sit here and 3 o'clock he should sit here. So that is a real time situation. So at the matching time, they all have to be present there. Whatever time is given. It doesn't matter that 3 o'clock in my country is equal to 5 o'clock in their country. So I have to be here at 3 o'clock, they have to be there at 5 o'clock to match my 3 o'clock time. Understood? So this is a real time situation that everyone has to be present at a particular given time. Right? This is very important for teleconferencing, because if the people are being allocated some time and they are not there in that time, then conferencing is not possible. So before that time, the entire setup has to be ready. The computer, the notes, the connections, internet connections, the web camera, the headphones, the coder, decoder, everything has to be present there. Understood? This is important. In some situations, questions can be emailed early for response by the resource person. So this is how teleconferencing is conducted in the remote site. Now, what are the use of teleconferencing? कहाँ पे use आती? Where all it is used? Teleconferencing is used for educational purposes. It is used for training and development. It is used for business and corporate communication. It is used for governance. It is used for medical courses and services. Nowadays, there are so many things which are possible through teleconferences. Education, training and development, business communication, governance, medical course, etc. Nowadays, you can, do conferencing between two, 3 doctors together. They can talk. They can meet and they can, research on something, even if they are not able to travel from one country to the other always. Doctor sitting in Russia, a doctor in India, a doctor in US, all can, interact and discuss about some disease, something, some research together through teleconferencing. They can decide a time when they all will be there and they will discuss on that thing. Education. Teachers can sit together from different parts of the world and set some educational standards. Teacher and the students from different parts can, come into conference. 5, 7 students are there, teacher is there. They will come at the same time. They can do the actual interaction as it happens in a real class. Understood. Training and development of executives or trainees can happen from different parts of the world. A trainer from America can train people in of different countries. They can be called into teleconferencing. All of them will sit at the same time and the conferencing will happen. Understood? So this is another way. So these all are the uses of teleconferencing through which all these things would be possible, and the further advancement and development of all these fields and the globalization in these fields has occurred all due to telecommunication. If teleconferencing. If teleconferencing was not there, these kind of discussions, etc., were not possible. If they were not there, then how these fields would have developed? These fields would have suffered a lot because, if a possible interaction is not there between group of people, every time the doctors to fly from different parts of the world is not possible. So to plan some strategies, some researches, to do some things, mostly they will want to meet periodically or on a regular basis. So how many doctors can, meet periodically? Understood. So they can meet through this teleconferencing. In every 7 days, they can plan up to meet for an hour on some particular issue if they are doing some research. They can understand each other's work and all those things. So teleconferencing has made the world a very small place to live in, and it is very helpful technique which has given a virtual hold to all of us, and it has given a global perspective to business, education, medical field, and everything. The globalization has happened due to this technological advancement in telecommunication. Understood. Because of all this, we have got the power, and we can, make the world a small place to live in. Now, to get a hold on teleconferencing, first of all, you should understand how to operate on the things. If you have a web camera, if you have a computer, and if you have a headphones and you have your proper connections, but you don't know to assemble them and use them for a conference, then they are of no use. For example, at home, if you have a TV and you have a remote, but you don't know to play the remote for the TV, then only one channel will be displayed always. You put on the TV through that plug and the TV is on and the channel is there. But you will always watch that one channel because you don't know to play the remote. Understood? So will you get the right advantage of the TV? No. So to get the right advantage of the TV, you need to understand how to play on the remote. Right? So you need to understand and train yourself to use the remote. So in this technologically evolved era, every one of us, it becomes a responsibility to understand and use the technology. So the companies, they give us that platform to get the trainings related to the use of these things. Apart from that, we can also learn if the company, if we are missing that thing, we should learn on our own. It should become our independent responsibility that I should know the gadgets, I should know to use them to help me get into these systems. So understood the importance, students, of teleconferencing. It is very important for discussion between people from the different parts of the world. So anyways, we are going to do further about it tomorrow. I hope you understood the importance of teleconferencing and what is teleconferencing. And I hope you have understood this, and let us, revise till here, till tomorrow, and we'll be back again with the further part of it tomorrow. And have a good day. I hope you understood and, you liked the